Hello, welcome back to the channel. So, as I am getting excited about Hail Caesar Hannibal, I've been thinking about games I've played, resources I've had in the past about it, and I've looked at some of them and I've been thinking about how they can help me get the most out of Epic Hail Caesar's Hannibal. So, what I'm going to do is talk about this game, Command and Color Ancients, and how it's going to help me do some cool stuff with my Epic battles. So what I'm going to do is introduce the game, talk about it, and talk about the wee golden nugget that is in this box, which I'm quite looking forward to using. So it's a board game. This is the starter set. They do loads of other sets, which cover all sorts of ancient periods, Imperial Rome versus barbarians, Germans, all sorts of stuff. But the starter set is Rome versus Carthage and Syracuse. So first, second, and third Punic Wars. And just to give you an idea of the level of detail, this is just a wee map which is on the side end of the box, which you barely see, but it's just a nice wee attention to detail. In a future video, I'm going to be talking about the history of the Punic Wars and talking about some of the battles. I've done some of those in the past with my battles and miniatures. I want to revisit them. I've got a few more technical skills and ideas now, so I want to revisit those and do those videos better. So it's a board game. So this is the board. So as you can see, it's hexes. But the clever thing about this is all the scenarios on the box is designed to use on this board. But as you can see, the back side of it is designed to fit onto another board. So you can fight some truly massive ancient battles. The other thing, you get these hexes with terrain marked on it. There's loads of them, rivers, forts, fortifications, and you put them down on the hexes that you want to have that cover. Dead simple, cover terrain, dead simple, dead easy. The core of this box is the units, and these are based around blocks. So these are some of the Carthaginians. You can tell by the elephants there. So generally, an infantry unit will have 4 blocks. Elephants will have 2. Cavalry will have 3 blocks to begin with, and you take blocks off as you take casualties. Now, one of the things about this box is the blocks don't come stickered. So you are going to spend a good couple of hours putting the stickers on and worrying about getting them level and straight and stuff. So if you can find a second-hand copy which is already stickered about the same price as a first edition copy, you know what? It's not a bad investment to get that second-hand one which is already stickered. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but each one of the units has either red, blue, or green. Red is heavy, blue is medium, and green is light. Talk about that in a wee bit. And there's some of the Roman ones. So you got your standard Roman infantry there. So the blue medium infantry, the principals, Hastii, so the lights with the green, Triadii with the red, cavalry. You also get a load of Roman allies, so various forces. It means you're not just limited to scenarios in the box to expand it. So this is an idea of how it works, dead simple. So when you move, how many hexes you get to move, range of firepower if you're not close range, how many dice you're going to roll. When you roll the dice, you dice will come up red, blue, or green, plus a couple of specials. So if you're targeting a blue one, you want the blue to come up so that that'll cause damage to blue, and special rules to do with terrain, etc. Certainly, I've played this board game with my non-wargaming friends. Quite simple to set up, and we've done most of the Carthaginian Roman battles which are in it. So each turn, when it's your turn to act, you will have a hand of cards. I think it's 5 cards. And you're going to choose which one to play. The battlefield is split up into the center and the flanks. So you get to choose. So if we look at the second one along there, order 3 units in the right flank. Dead simple. 3 units on the right flank, you get to move and shoot with, or do close combat with them. There's special cards as well. Or if you look at the one on the far right, it's move all your medium troops on the battlefield. So part of the skill is using those cards. If you're going to use a lot of cards to affect one flank, after a while you're going to struggle to draw those cards back up because there's only so many right flank, left flank, for example. So you've got to really balance your attack. And also, if you race ahead with one troop type, you might not be able to pull the other troop types up in support. But this is the Nugget, which has got me digging it back out and thinking about it. Is a scenario booklet. There's 15 scenarios in this covering the first, second, and third Punic Wars. Now, I yet to see what the Epic Battles Punic Wars book will look like, but by the sounds of it, they're going to have some good scenarios in it as well. This just gives you options, allows you to think about it. So let's have a look at what a scenario looks like in here. So you've got a map with the units laid on. Now I was thinking, as a really basic introduction, each one of those units could be a corresponding Hail Caesar unit. And you've got a bit of a historical background, and it's as simple as that. Uh, you'll be able to see the Roman force there set up with the Velites, the medium infantry, and the Trebia in the back with a bit of cavalry. The Carthaginians tend to be a bit more mixed up in terms of what they have and how it's deployed. So a couple of scenarios over rivers. This actually scenario is really interesting. We played this. I think it's First Punic Wars. The Romans have basically got a light force, light infantry and cavalry, and it's a skirmishing Carthaginian cavalry force as well. It's skirmishing. It's a light Carthaginian cavalry force as well, like 2 raiding forces clashing. So Trebia, one of my favourite battles of the period. Give you an idea what that looks like, including some reinforcements for the Romans there. Sorry, not for the Romans. It's Carthaginian, Mago's force coming up behind the Romans. And following on from Trebia, there was Lake Trasimene, so Trasimenus, which where Romans were ambushed by the Carthaginians. And actually, what would that look like? Well, that's it's that battle, an epic battle. Like I say, I can't wait to get them on the tabletop. You also got Canai or Canai, which is a really interesting battle. It is the hallmark of military tactics throughout history. Basically, the Carthaginians are able to do a double envelopment on the Romans, surround the Roman army, and annihilate the Roman army. Like total annihilation. All the Roman citizens were executed. All the allies were allowed to leave because Hannibal needed Roman allied states to come over to him. Anyway, in terms of a war game, it's really difficult to recreate because the Romans were pulled up on the center and the flanks were overwhelmed. Now, not a lot of wargaming commanders are going to make the same mistake that the Romans did at Cannae. So, one of the measures that I always look at for war games is how easy would it be to represent Cannae. And there's, as an example, the Battle of Zama, the final battle of the Punic Wars, the Punic War, where Hannibal is finally defeated by Scipio. And even then, using these as a basis of your armies, you're not needing a massive amount of units to have that recreated on the tabletop. Certainly, Hail Caesar is relatively flexible with how many men each unit represents on the tabletop. So yeah, there you go. That's me delving into my collection of Rome versus Carthage materials, as you've seen before when I looked at Wargames rules and sources for it. It's a couple of months away yet. This is mid-May, so July. I'm hoping to get my hands on some sprues early doors and get them painted up. Certainly, I'll be waiting for War Games Illustrator to drop. If you've had any experience of Command and Colours, it's a nice, I'd consider it an easy war game. I've got my non-war gaming friends playing it. Uh, I have been beaten at it by them as well. I've been every time I've played Command and Colours games, and I've got Napoleonic set as well with my daughters. I always get beaten. So there you go. So anyway, that is goodbye for now. Goodbye.